All right, so let's talk about. All right, so now we're going to cover hip mobility. So your hips are supposed to be very mobile so that you don't borrow from your lower back or your knees and cause some discomfort. You can also probably feel some tension in the front of your hips because you've been sitting for a majority of your day. So these drills will help you gain some mobility and actually make you more strong because you can get into deeper ranges of motion when you have less restrictions, and then the deeper range of motion with the load that you're doing is going to make you stronger in the long run. So let's focus on some rotations in our hips here. So I want you to go to a position where you're not slouching, but you're kind of open chested. Think about kind of pinching those shoulder blades back and squeezing them together as you lock out your elbows. Now this is how I'm going to keep structure so that I don't move anywhere else except for my hips. Now I'm going to go into this seated position here, and I'm going to keep this guy vertical. As I rotate this down, this is going to want to go out. So my goal is to kind of resist that if I cannot push in that knee so it stays vertical. Now you're not going to get a ton of range here. Notice how I'm going to try to keep my glute on the ground. So I don't want my butt cheek to pop off. Not right now. Shoulders back, tall position, kind of rotate down and back. I'm going to exhale as I pull it down. Shoulders are back, nice and tall. Keep the bone that you're sitting on, your sits bone, on the ground. Per rep, you should feel more range. Now, if you feel tension on the inside of your knee, just stop right before that. You'll find that you're getting more range of motion per rep. Exhale, keep the bone on the ground. Let's try one more. All right, now this side, same idea. Keep the left knee vertical. Rotate the other knee down without lifting the bone and without feeling inside knee pain. Just stop short there if you feel it. Exhale as you rotate down, shoulders are back and down. Tall spine. Big exhale as you rotate down. You'll see per rep you get a little bit lower. Try two more. Good. Now we're going to go into what we call the shin box position. So I basically make a box with my shins. The foot goes to my thigh. This guy's rotated back. You can have your foot positioned however you need to feel comfortable. I like this kind of swoop back position. And I'm working on being very tall in my spine here so that I'm not bending through. All right. I'm going to plant my hand and I'm going to extend this hip. And I'm going to squeeze my glute so my glute leaves the ground. And I'm going to kind of tuck my tailbone underneath and pull my hip down towards the ground. So I'm reducing the distance between my glute and the ground. So I pull down. You're going to feel the flexor activate. Strong, tall spine, and extend and squeeze your glute. Now it's off the ground. Now I'm going to pull it down. Just getting some unilateral extension in the hip, feeling some opening in the front, maybe a little bit in the groin, and I'm going to pull that hip down to the ground, trying to decrease the distance between my glute and the ground. It's not going to become a ninja overnight. You're going to have to repeat these drills. I'm just working on some extension here. Good. Now I'm going to rotate to the other side and do the same thing. I'm going to extend through that hip, squeeze the glute, pull it down. Extend, pull down. Try to close the distance between your glute and the ground, maintaining a tall spine. Exhale. Do it on both portions. Squeeze, pull down. Kind of like you're tucking underneath. Just a little bit of flossing in the hips. Okay, now we're going to go into what we call shin boxing. So I'm going to rotate through, tall spine. I'm going to kind of pull that hip down like I just did on the previous drill and rotate through, like little windshield wipers. Get tall in my spine, pull it down, externally rotate, coming through. Pull down, rotate. Shoulders are back. extend, pull down. Extend, pull down. I'll do about 5 per side here. Now, obviously you can extend how many reps you want to do, depending on how much time you have. But I like to do these drills when I'm watching TV, just hanging out. Because instead of sitting more, I can mobilize a little bit. Takes away some tension, makes me recover faster, and just kind of feels nice. Okay, so we got the basic shin box down, okay? So now we can come up with a whole bunch of different things. We're gonna work on extension here. So as I went into my shin box, I'm gonna keep that the back hand planted, and I'm gonna extend through my hips and squeeze. So I'm gonna look like this here. Driving through, gonna feel this hip activating, this glute is squeezing, pull down, gonna rotate to the other side, lift, full extension in the hip, and squeeze my glute. So I'm squeezing that glute, pull down, rotate through. The goal is to feel stretch in the front of your hip. Now, if you can get that good elevation, full extension, you can add a reach and you'll feel a nice stretch in the front. What most people call their flexor. Just a wad of tissue in the front of your hip, extending and reaching. Bridge up, extend and reach. Keep that bottom shoulder planted. Bottom shoulder down and squeeze your tricep. And as I reach over the line here, so I can feel a lateral stretch in here. Big exhale as you bridge up. Let's try one more. Good. So we worked some rotation and some extension there. Now we're going to kind of stretch out the back part. So we always return back to the shin box position. It's kind of like our basic position, our ready position. Back leg, I'm going to extend out. Okay, so I'm just going to sweep that leg out. Remain tall. I'm going to kind of sweep that leg out and be dramatic in the circle that I make as I cross over. Notice how my leg goes behind my knee. This guy is going to be making contact with the ground. Keep that front glute down. Exhale, twist through, kind of hug this thigh. You're going to feel a nice little stretch through there. Twist through. Pull the thigh towards you. Release the tension. Make the big circle. Come back here. Circle through. Right, I'm going to make that very dramatic big circle as I cross the leg. I can grab my leg to help me get it over. So I can kind of lock into position. This butt cheek must be on the ground. I'm going to hug, exhale, twist, pull. Feel it through here. Big circle, tall spine. You can grab your leg and bring it across and kind of hug it in. Exhale, pull. Feel the opening. Back. Right, get a little tighter per rep. Try one more. Tall spine, loop it through, hug and pull. Try to feel that lower back, external rotator, high glute stretch. This is in contact with the ground. I have a tall spine and I hug my leg. Okay, now we're just gonna switch sides. So I go into my shin box position here. Like this glute is dramatically higher than the other side. So I have to really emphasize trying to stay tall here. So I'm gonna rotate this through, kind of hug, keep this glute down to kind of roll down there a little bit to get it to touch the ground. Otherwise it's kind of cheating. I'm gonna hug the thigh, twist through and pull. Come back to that position, tall, crossover. Hug, pull through. Try to feel the relief here. You can hold on there for maybe just a nice big exhale. Big exhale as I pull through. Top position. Big leg sweep. Hug. Pull it through. All right. Now, we've done a lot of hip bridging. This is a nice little upgrade on the hip bridge that makes you really extend so that you're not just giving to the fact that you're extending, but you can counter rotate yourself. I'll show you what I mean. So you know this move here, we do this all the time to warm up. We keep the shoulder blades down and we're driving through the hips, squeezing the glutes and thinking about shins forward. Feel the glutes activate. You should feel opening up in your hips. Keep your core tight so you don't extend through your spine. You're just extending through your hips. Let's try 5 here. Squeeze your glutes. Drive the shins forward so you can feel the opening of your hips. Maybe a little stretch in the quad perhaps. Now when I bridge, I'm going to take this arm that's on the ground and roll over, but keep the hips rotating up square to the ground. Come back down. Bridge, keep the glutes squeezed and square to the ceiling and roll to your shoulder, exposing your upper back. So shoulders are stacked, hips are parallel to the ground, or to the ceiling too. Hips are square, shoulders are stacked. Rotate. So this hip is going to want to drop. I'm going to rotate it up to the ceiling. Pull down. Big bridge. Rotate left hip to ceiling as I rotate to left shoulder. Big bridge. Squeeze glutes. Keep the hips square by resisting the rotation and drop. Make sure your hips are square. You'll find that one side is higher than the other. Like I really had to emphasize this right hip extending to keep it square. And then pull down. After these, it's nice to kind of give your little pull to your knees here. So you just take out some of that activation from the lower back. And then I can roll back into my ready position in shin box. So those are ways to rotate through your femur to release some tension in the back hips, and those bridges and this reach will help you open up the front part of your hips. Give it a try, let me know how it goes.